Okay, so the point of this video is to teach you a drill that's going to allow you to forehand up to twice as far if you're a new player. So by that I mean controlled, because usually people are able to just like muscle the disc a pretty absurd distance, but it's not very useful, it's not very catchable, and the disc tends to sort of flop over in the air. So we're going to be addressing a few things that simplify the motion of throwing a forehand with a good grip and really just perfecting that wrist technique in order to get true spin off the disc, and from that true spin you'll be able to scale up your distance. I've got my friends on their way, friends and teammates, Tom and Jess, and we're going to be doing this live with them so that you can see that this isn't just hocus pocus. We've got a couple players who are in their first season who are going to be learning this live, and we'll see what kind of improvements we can make to their throws and hopefully to yours as well. So the first thing we're going to do is get the grip set up. Tom has a damn near perfect grip, so let's bring that over to the camera and show what we're looking at here. Tom's got his thumb grabbing onto the flight rings. He's got these fingers stabilizing the edge of the disc, and underneath we've got fingers together and against the lip. That's all good stuff. All right, so Jess has the same grip. The only thing here is your fingers, yep, we want them tight against the bottom of the frisbee there. We don't want any sort of hovering like that. We want it pretty tight so that it's all sort of pinched together. All right, so you guys are all set to start throwing. So the fundamentals of this drill is to take away the awkwardness of throwing straight on and having to articulate your elbow out in front of everything. So to get rid of that awkwardness, which is like, you don't do that in anything, like even in tennis, like you allow your forearm to break. And when you throw a ball, you allow your forearm to break and turn over. And in Frisbee, to throw a forehand, you have to like really remove that, and you're actually going to go the other way and have your hand come under and have your thumb sort of point toward the ground. So to make it easier for ourselves, instead of throwing forward, we're going to stand sideways to each other, and we're just going to like throw this bladey flick, this bladey forehand. And we're going to get rid of some of that arm motion. We'll just use the wrist. And it's okay if it doesn't get to me. We're just trying to keep that bladey edge. Yeah! Okay, Jess, do you want to hop in? Nice, that's exactly what we're looking for. It seems dumb now, but just wait until it starts to work. Nice, and you're getting this like accidental distance now, which is like everybody's favorite. It's like, whoops, I accidentally threw it super far. Okay, let's give Tom another toss. It's okay if it kind of launches up too high. All we're looking for here is to keep that edge down and to keep it sort of like as vertical as possible. Looks good. Okay, let's move away from the bench a bit, and we'll create a little bit more distance. And we're just gonna throw a bunch of these. And now you can see that at a bit of a greater distance, we're starting to see the disc like kind of flatten out a little bit, and that's normal. And it's going to start to have a bit of like a bend to it now. And that is the foundation of what's called an inside-out throw. So an inside-out throw comes across your body. And for a right-handed thrower, it comes up to the left and curves in the final part of its flight to the right. That's an IO, that's an inside-out throw. And that, my friends, is the key to distance on a forehand. Nice, Jess. So Jess is actually like locking into some of that crazy potential distance. Tom, that was really good too. We're not worried too much about accuracy as much as we're worried about vertical. Yeah, keeping the disc vertical, and that's okay too. Those are exactly the types of throws we're looking for. What we're not looking for is having the disc break its plane and turn over and lose its power. Nice, Jess. Okay, nice. So what we'll do, now that you guys have it, is with each catch, take a step back. And they're slowly increasing their distance. Nice, Tom. That's still a great IO. So Tom threw it a little bit higher than he needed to, so you guys can now start thinking about taking the throw and throwing more at your target. So there's tons of power, tons of flight there. Nice, Jess.
I've been trying to use my arm and just like bomb it.
Yeah.
But I'm standing here and I'm just like barely giving it anything, and it's
carrying.
It's carrying, yeah.
Yeah. And that's because when you are able to maintain this shape, this inside out shape where it goes up that way and then fades to the right, like the disc just wants to carry that way.
Right. I always thought it was a lot more arm to get distance, but I realized that I didn't know how far you could actually throw it with just your wrist.
So we'll start close again. Let's start close again. Because the idea really, like, you guys are actually getting this a lot faster than most people I show this drill to. This part here actually can take a lot longer to get. It's a tricky feeling to be able to keep that disc upright. So stay at this stage until you've got this part down. Don't worry about like where it ends up, just worry about it staying as vertical as possible. And Jess, the fact that you're able to keep it vertical all the way to Tom means your far throws are gonna start looking crazy. So still just working our way back. After each successful one, we're going to take a step back. So we're throwing a little bit farther, but we're not changing really much with what we're doing with our wrist. We're snapping at the bottom of the throw. Nice. And Jess, you did a good job there of adjusting for the new distance by throwing more at your target and less up. Because now that you're introducing a little bit more power, you have to throw a little flatter. By throwing it more at him, you can add a little bit more snap at the bottom, and the disc is going to start wanting to flatten out. And you can see it's already starting to do that. You guys are doing a good job of patiently just scaling up this distance. Nice, Jess. So that's okay, throwing them into the ground once in a while too, while you figure out that release point. Nice, Tom. So now that you're throwing an IO, left to right bending throw, throw a little bit to the left, just a touch, so that it fades to your target properly. And if you guys find your throws are falling apart, like you're just not completing them the way that it seems to be like improving and improving, get closer again and find that vertical edge again. So right now, that's a good distance for you guys to try to beat next time. So start closer and we'll walk through another rep of it. Nice, Tom. The other thing this drill does, which is really handy, is it teaches you to release a little bit closer to your body. There's a lot of power to be had releasing close to your body, and you seem to use more of your arm in kind of an incorrect way if you're releasing far from your body, at least initially. When you start to really learn how to use your wrist, you can snap your wrist farther out away from your body, but when you're just learning this type of throw, sometimes it's easier to control your wrist with a release point that's closer to your hip. Not at all handy for an in-game situation, but it's the kind of thing where you build this technique and this throw in practice without a mark, and then you figure out how to open up your stance and throw it straight on with a mark. Nice, Tom. That was a really good shape. It's flattening out really well. Now, Jess, let's do something just for fun. Throw it 50% harder than your last one. So like, give it some zip. And look at that flattened out. That is crazy. Look at that. We're on the Frisbee field. She threw it about half the field just there, fairly effortlessly.
Yeah.
Because the disc has different pressure on either side, it's spinning. When you release it, it's spinning this way. So there's a lot less pressure against this side of the disc because it's spinning sort of with backspin. And this is spinning into the air and causing more pressure. And because the disc has lift, I think it's got more lift on this side and it forces it to come upright. Yeah, baby. Oh. Yeah, so that's like, that one did start off a bit lower and then it like flattened out because of that like weird resistance on that one side of the disc. So we'll get you guys thrown again. Wow, That is the one. You've got it. You figured it out. Wow. Yup. Woohoo! Boom. There we go. Just saved her life. Wow. You've got it. Nice, Tom. So just to wrap up that video, Tom and Jess are both very athletic people. Tom comes from hockey, Jess is a volleyball setter and a very good one, so her hand-brain connection is there. You could see that in her throws. The spin was really clean. And I think most people that I've taught this to have had more success spending time at the closer distances, mastering clean spin on that vertical plane, and then gradually introducing a flatter throw to that, so letting the disc be released flatter and flatter until they're able to get that inside out IO throw successfully at greater distances. And the most success I've seen has been when people actually slow down and make sure that they're throwing perfectly at the distance they're attempting before going for, stepping back to a greater distance. So best of luck with that, and I hope to have you on board for more throw progressions and skill progressions in the future. I plan on putting together other videos to teach other high-level skills, but in an incremental fashion, so that you can start on the very basics of it and then build and build and build until you have a very impressive skill that you can actually use in the game. Thanks for joining. Bye!